It's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Today we have a question from Bond, James Bond, who watched one of my super old videos that I published over 14 years ago. He says, "Damn, 14 years old? What advice would you give to the Ramsey in this video on how to become a better fighter?" If you don't know, I've had this YouTube channel for a pretty long time. I've been publishing videos for over 15 years on YouTube. In fact, I have videos older than the oldest public ones. It's just I deleted most of them because I found them to be embarrassing. I should have set them to private because I'd love to watch those today and just laugh at myself. I was weird back then. I'm weird now, but in different ways. It's only funny if you laugh at people who are different than you, right? Especially if that person is yourself. No, don't laugh at people who are different than you guys. Sometimes I try to be funny and sarcastic, and it rarely works. But we're going to watch this video together of my heavy bag work from age 24, 25. I am 43 years old now. And let's see how this goes. Let's watch and react. About training with a heavy bag. So I'm not going to play the audio here. I can tell you right away I am very concerned about trying to look cool in front of a camera right here. So I'm throwing punches as fast and as hard as I can, because back then that was very important to me. Throw punches fast and hard, and to young men that seems like it is the most important thing. How fast you can punch, how hard you can hit. Side kick up there, followed by a flurry of punches. That's actually still a technique I really like. Throw a high side kick to the head and then rush in with a flurry of strikes. But today I like to use that to set up takedowns, get the attention up high and then get down low. So aside from that, these knees are quite frankly terrible. The front kicks need a lot of work. I'm putting a lot of emphasis in putting power into my kicks, so I'm not snapping them back. In this stage of my life, I had a lot of people yelling at me over the internet because I had a Taekwondo background. They're like, "Oh, you just have those wimpy little Taekwondo kicks. In Muay Thai, they kick so much harder." So I was trying to emulate Muay Thai style kicks, and it was neither here nor there in this video. Neither the clean, crisp snap kicks of Taekwondo nor the thunderous, powerful kicks of Muay Thai. So, as Mr. Miyagi said, "You karate, yes, that okay. You karate, no, that okay. You," what was the stand in the middle of the road, squash just like grape anyway. Be a man of extremes. A couple of things here. That right body kick, I used that one in a fight, got a second round TKO through that right body kick. That's the one I liked a lot. The shovel hooks, I did a lot of damage in a few kickboxing matches with those. The left lead high kick, I used that one a lot in my Taekwondo career, and a couple of times to great effect in kickboxing matches. But my teep is terrible. This is one thing I would teach myself right away. Fix that teep. One of the things with these kicks, after throwing them, I'm dropping them down again. The knees, we need to fix these a lot. A lot of things, my knees are kind of sliding on the bag rather than penetrating, actually doing any damage here. Get a lot of reps on this left high kick. Got a few knockouts with that in Taekwondo. Landed that a few times to great effect in kickboxing. And that's the end of the video. So thanks for watching. Now get out there and train. Yeah, I've been saying that on the internet for 15 years. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train. Somebody accused me of stealing that from Kurt Osiander. Kurt Osiander didn't start saying get out there and train on the internet till after I did. So I'm claiming it, man. All due respect to Mr. Osiander. Anyway, what advice would I give myself back then? Man, I would tell myself, go find Shane Brenner right away. He later became my coach, and man, that dude was amazing. Helped me so much as a fighter, and so much in the process of learning to be a martial artist. But if it was just me coaching my younger self, yeah, we would fix the teeps right away. I got some videos on teeps, and man, you want to learn some really good technical aspects of the teep, go check out Jawad Mahmoudi on his channel. He's got some good ones there. He's got one of the best uses of the teeps. Now, it's not just about how you do the technique, and it's not just about power and speed, like a lot of young people think it is. Position is so much more important than any of those things. It really is. And I didn't really understand the position. So a few techniques, I remember using those because they worked in fights, like the left high kick and the right middle kick and so on. But I didn't understand why they worked in fights back then. I just knew that I used them and they worked, so I was going to repeat them. And now I understand why they worked. I understand the footwork to repeat it with consistent success. But back then I really didn't. So I would ask myself, hey, why are you doing that? And I'd say, because it worked before. Why did it work before? I don't know. Well, let's answer that question right away. Let's figure that out. Another thing I would tell myself, go get some training partners, because I was pretty much doing it on my own back then, and I understand why. I had very limited resources, didn't have a lot of money, and I was working like 3 jobs. So I, just to try to pay the bills and fighting on top of that. So I didn't really have a lot of free time to train, which is terrible if you're fighting, especially fighting for money, fighting professionally. You need to take the time to train. I think I fought more than I trained back then. And I was very, very concerned about appearances back then. It has to look fast, and I don't want people to make fun of me. I'm going to put this up on the internet. I want it to look good. I wouldn't have admitted any of these things back then. I didn't think these things back then, but looking at it right now, I can see, yeah, that's exactly what was going on. The young man's ego was at play. Kill that young man's ego. That's what we got to do, man. It can help to drive us to greatness, but it can also hold us back in so many ways. So, what else? Back then I felt like, oh, my punches are really good because I can throw them very fast. And it felt very satisfying to drum on the back. But I could dance circles around my previous self. Today, as a 43-year-old man, I could dance circles around that guy, going slow. I could dance circles around that guy, going slow. And I could catch any one of those kicks, because that guy right there, that 24, 25-year-old Ramsey, he didn't pull them back. He made them easy to catch. Now, nobody was catching kicks back then in that part of America where I was competing. It just wasn't a thing. But it shocked me to my core when I moved over here to China, and everybody caught every kick that I threw at them, and they threw me on the floor, punched me in the face, did horrific things, fighting all these Chinese Sanda fighters, and it was like, you can do that? And suddenly the wisdom and snap kicks snapped. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. A lot of things are starting to make a lot of sense now, man. So I understand why my younger self would have said it's a practical impossibility for me to train as much as I need to right now, to get the type of training partners and coaching that I need right now. So I'd probably give myself a lot of life advice, a lot of career advice, and tell myself to stop focusing on what I can't do and start focusing on what I can. A couple years later, I opened up my own gym, my first gym, and it was small, pretty bare bones, but it was nice. Had everything you needed to train. And I would have told myself pretty much all the same things I tell you guys. Stop trying to separate striking from grappling. It's the same thing. Now, I understand, back then I was training principally for kickboxing, but I was also doing MMA fights as well. Although I didn't really consider myself an MMA fighter. I did an MMA fight once in a while to try to make some extra cash, to try to make ends meet. But I was mostly doing kickboxing matches. So I thought, if I can punch fast and kick fast and hard, then I'm good, right? But I tried to work some sprawls in there because that's what I thought would save me from all the takedowns. And, I don't think I ever sprawled against a takedown once when I was fighting in the United States because nobody ever went for an easy double leg without a good setup on me. Remember, it's not a setup unless you're unbalanced. So I got taken down with a double leg twice in two of my fights in the U.S. And one of those times he shot under my jab. I was throwing out my jab nice and fast and crisp and clean, and he shoots under my jab. And I wasn't expecting that. I had not prepared for that contingency, and that was shocking and sad, especially at that moment. I was fighting this dude named Brian Perrin, I think it was. Anyway, got him once with the jab, and I was like, I'm winning. And then immediately shoots under my second jab and takes me down. And I remember feeling incredibly helpless because I didn't know how to grapple back then. I went into these MMA fights not knowing how to grapple. I'd seen people sprawl. I tried to do a rough facsimile of sprawling, and it didn't really work, man. When push came to shove, because it's different when it's real. It's very, very different when it's real, which is why I would tell myself, get training partners. When I say get out there and train, I'm implying a few things. If you're a combat sports athlete, get training partners, get good coaching, get a good place to train, and log the hours, log some serious hours. I would have told myself, spend at least 100 hours grappling before you even think about doing another cage fight, man. Spend at least 100 hours before ever accepting another MMA fight. Because that's going to be transformative, that's going to change your game, that's going to bring you from nothing to something in a hurry. What else would I tell myself? Relax. Keep breathing. When in doubt, be the guy on top. And stop caring what you look like. Stop caring what you look like. My very first pro kickboxing match, my opponent was in this position where he's open for a flying sidekick. And a flying sidekick is a technique I used in Taekwondo competition. I used it, and to great effect. I loved it, and I was pretty good at it. But I start stepping and jumping into the flying sidekick, and mid-jump, I second-guess myself, and I'm like, oh, this probably looks stupid. People are going to yell at me because they think Taekwondo sucks. And all these voices from the internet and in-person interactions with other martial artists poo-pooing Taekwondo, saying your tradition of Taekwondo sucks, Taekwondo is worthless, came into my mind and got me to second-guess this move I'm doing mid-air. And so I don't throw the kick, and I just land right in front of the guy, and he punches me in the mouth. And I remember thinking, that was so stupid. I cared so much about what I looked like in front of the cameras that I ended up looking stupid. This obsession over image makes us look stupid. I would tell myself, learn how to box, and my younger self would say, there's nowhere to learn how to box around here. There are no boxing gyms in this city. What are you talking about, learn how to box? How am I supposed to do that? There was nobody on YouTube back then that I knew of who had good boxing instruction, and I figured, well, it's just punching, right? I would teach myself how to box, I guess, because I think I would have to. Learn the footwork. Learn how to set up the uppercut. Because you're not going to do it standing in front of the other guy. You got to make some angles, man. I would probably yell at myself a lot about making angles. So many of the questions I'm asked on this channel are answered by make angles. And I got a bunch of videos, got a whole playlist on footwork. It's titled Footwork. Check it out, my footwork playlist on this channel, all about how to make angles and flank the other guy from the side or get behind him and attack and land the punches. A ton of amateur boxers have a really hard time landing their right hook. They've never ever landed a right hook on anybody because they don't know how to set it up. They don't know the footwork to land the right hook. And so sometimes they'll throw a right swing, a right haymaker, or a right overhand and miss most of the time. But they've never once connected with a right hook. How about you? You ever connected with a right hook, like a real right hook that laid somebody out in your life? If not, go check out that footwork playlist, man. Teach you to get on the side of the other guy and flank him with that right hook. Anyway, learn how to box, learn how to grapple, put in the time, get the training partners. Stop coming up with excuses. I know it's hard. I know it seems impossible. It's not. That's what I would tell myself back then. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.